ഈ കണക്കുകൂട്ടൽ യന്ത്രം കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചതിലൂടെ പ്രശസ്തനായ ഫ്രഞ്ച് ശാസ്ത്രജ്ഞൻ പാസ്കൽ നിയമത്തിൻ്റെയും പാസ്കൽ ത്രികോണത്തിൻ്റെയും ഉപജ്ഞാതാവ് ബ്ലെയ്സ് പാസ്കൽ. പാസ്കൽ നിയമം അടച്ചുപൂട്ടിയ ഏതെങ്കിലുമൊരു ദ്രാവകത്തിൻ്റെയോ വാതകത്തിൻ്റെയോ ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു ഭാഗത്ത് പ്രയോഗിക്കുന്ന ബലം അതേ തോതിൽ എല്ലായിടത്തും അനുഭവപ്പെടുമെന്ന് പാസ്കൽ കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചു. ഇതാണ് പാസ്കൽ നിയമം. സിറിഞ്ച്, എക്സ്കവേറ്റർ, ഹൈഡ്രോളിക് പമ്പ്, ഹൈഡ്രോളിക് ജാക്ക് ഇവയെല്ലാം ഈ പാസ്കൽ നിയമം അടിസ്ഥാനമാക്കിയാണ് പ്രവർത്തിക്കുന്നത്. ത്രികോണം വരികളെ ഒരു പ്രത്യേക രീതിയിൽ ക്രമീകരിച്ച് നിർമ്മിച്ച ത്രികോണമാണ് പാസ്കൽ ത്രികോണം എന്ന് അറിയപ്പെടുന്നത്. 19ാമത്തെ വയസ്സിൽ പാസ്കലൈൻ എന്നു പേരിട്ട ആദ്യത്തെ കാൽക്കുലേറ്റർ ബ്ലെയ്സ് പാസ്കൽ നിർമ്മിച്ചു. കമ്പ്യൂട്ടറിൻ്റെ ആദ്യ രൂപമായിരുന്നു ഇത്.
Hi friends, I am Nimi Peter. I am studying in 7C. Today I am going to introduce the scientist Joseph Priestley and his invention. About the Joseph Priestley. Joseph Priestley was born on 1733 in England at Yorkshire. He has historically been credited with the discovery of oxygen. He is a chemist, natural philosopher. When Joseph Priestley discovered oxygen in 1774, he answered age-old questions of why and how things burn. He also discovered 9 other gases such as carbon monoxide, nitrogen peroxide, etc. He passed away on 1804. Then I shows the example of Joseph Priestley's invention. Materials required for the experiment was a lighter, a candle and a glass. First I take a candle and a lighter. Burn the candle with the help of lighter. We can see the candle burn with the help of oxygen. Next, I take the glass and cover the candle with the glass. Wait for some time. We can see the candle gone off because when I cover the candle with the glass, there is no entry of oxygen. The conclusion of this experiment was, fire needs oxygen to sustain itself. The mirror prevents the fire from consuming any more oxygen. Once the fire in the glass has consumed all the oxygen, the fire goes out. Thank you. Presented by Nimi Peter.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm going to introduce about a scientist. His name was Evangelista Torricelli. To tell about him. He invented the barometer. He was born in October 15, 1608 in France. He was died in October 25, 1647 in Florence.
He was an Italian physicist and mathematician who invented the barometer and whose work in geometry aided in the eventual development of integral calculus. Inspired by Galileo's writings, he wrote a treatise on mechanics, De Motu, which impressed Galileo. In 1641, he served as secretary and assistant during the last 3 months of Galileo's life. 2 years later, pursuing a suggestion by Galileo, he filled a glass tube 4 feet long with mercury and inverted the tube into a dish. He observed that some of the mercury did not flow out and that the space above the mercury in the tube was vacuum. Torricelli became the first man to create sustained vacuum. After much observation, he concluded that the variation of the height of the mercury from the day to day was caused by changes in atmospheric pressure.
We want a cardboard piece, a glass, a container, and some water.
Begin by filling the empty glass with water. Gently place the cardboard piece on the top of the glass. Move the glass over the container. Gently place your hand on the cardboard and then flip the glass over. Remove your hand from the bottom and watch in amazement as the paper stays covering the glass and water doesn't spill out. How does the experiment work? When you first turn the cup upside down, the pressure of the air inside the cup and the air pressure outside the cup are equal. If you look closely, however, you will notice that just a little water leaks out between the card and cup. This happens because the force of gravity naturally pulls on the water. When some of the water escapes, this causes of the volume of the air to increase slightly. Even though the amount of air above the water stays the same, volume occupied by the air outside the cup is now greater than the pressure inside the cup and card stays in place. All of this is possible because the water creates an airtight seal between the rim of the cup and the card. When the seal is broken, air enters into the cup equally. The pressure and gravity pushes the water out.
That's all about my experiment. Thank you.
ഞാൻ അനാമിക പി ആർ 7ഡിയിൽ പഠിക്കുന്നു. സർ ഐസക് ന്യൂട്ടനാണ് ഗ്രാവിറ്റി കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചത്. വേൾഡ് ഗ്രേറ്റസ്റ്റ് സയന്റിസ്റ്റായ സർ ഐസക് ന്യൂട്ടന്റെ 3 പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട ചലന നിയമങ്ങളാണ് ഞാൻ ഇവിടെ പറയുന്നത്. ന്യൂട്ടൺ ഫസ്റ്റ് ലോ, ന്യൂട്ടൺ സെക്കൻഡ് ലോ, ന്യൂട്ടൺ തേർഡ് ലോ. ന്യൂട്ടൺ ഫസ്റ്റ് ലോ: എ ബോഡി കണ്ടിന്യൂസ് ഇൻ ഇറ്റ്സ് സ്റ്റേറ്റ് ഓഫ് റെസ്റ്റ് or uniform motion unless compelled by an unbalanced external force to change its state. അതായത് തുല്യമല്ലാത്ത ഒരു ബാഹ്യബലം ഒരു വസ്തുവിന് മുകളിൽ പ്രയോഗിക്കുന്നത് വരെ ആ നിശ്ചലാവസ്ഥയിൽ സ്ഥിതി ചെയ്യുന്ന വസ്തു നിശ്ചലമായി തന്നെയും സമവേഗത്തിൽ തുടർന്നുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന വസ്തു സമവേഗത്തിൽ തുടരാനുമുള്ള പ്രേരണ ഉണ്ടാവുന്നു. എക്സാമ്പിൾ: നമ്മൾ ഒരു ബസ്സിൽ നിന്നുകൊണ്ട് യാത്ര ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ആ ബസ് പെട്ടെന്ന് നിർത്തിയാൽ നമ്മൾ മുന്നോട്ട് ചായും. നിർത്തിയിട്ടിരിക്കുന്ന ബസ്സിൽ നമ്മൾ നിൽക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ പെട്ടെന്ന് ബസ് മുന്നോട്ട് പോയാൽ നമ്മൾ ബാക്കിലേക്ക് ചായും. ഇത് ന്യൂട്ടന്റെ ഒന്നാമത്തെ ചലന നിയമത്തിന് എക്സാമ്പിളാണ്. ന്യൂട്ടൺ സെക്കൻഡ് ലോ: The rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to unbalanced external force act on it and it take place in the direction of force. അതായത് ഒരു വസ്തുവിനുണ്ടാവുന്ന ആക്കവ്യത്യാസത്തിന്റെ നിരക്ക് ആ വസ്തുവിൽ പ്രയോഗിക്കുന്ന അസന്തുലിത ബാഹ്യബലത്തിന് നേർ അനുപാതിയിലും അതേ ദിശയിലും ആയിരിക്കും. എക്സാമ്പിൾ: നമ്മൾ ഒരു പന്ത് മെല്ലെ തട്ടുമ്പോൾ അത് അതേ ദിശയിൽ വേഗത കുറഞ്ഞ് കുറച്ച് ദൂരം മാത്രമേ പോവുകയുള്ളൂ. നമ്മൾ ഒരു പന്ത് കൂടുതൽ ശക്തിയിൽ തട്ടിയാൽ അത് അതേ ദിശയിൽ കൂടുതൽ ദൂരം കൂടുതൽ വേഗത്തിൽ പോകും. ന്യൂട്ടന്റെ മൂന്നാമത്തെ ചലന നിയമം: To every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. അതായത് എല്ലാ പ്രവർത്തനത്തിനും തുല്യമാവും അതിന്റെ വിപരീതമായുള്ള പ്രതിപ്രവർത്തനം ഉണ്ടായിരിക്കും. എക്സാമ്പിൾ: ഗണ്ണിൽ നിന്ന് ബുള്ളറ്റ് പോകുന്നതും റോക്കറ്റ് പോകുന്നതും ന്യൂട്ടന്റെ മൂന്നാമത്തെ ചലന നിയമത്തിന് എക്സാമ്പിളാണ്. താങ്ക് യു.
Hi friends, I'm Agida in Standard 7B. How is your day, guys? Hope you all are well. Today I'm going to introduce some famous eminent scientists as a part of Science Corner. Let's begin from Chandrasekhara Venkata Raman. Chandrasekhara Venkata Raman was born in 1888 in Tiruchirappalli, Tamil Nadu. He was an Indian physicist. His work in optics and scattering of light received worldwide recognition. He was awarded the Nobel Prize for his work popularly known as Raman effect. He died in 1970. Second one, Michael Faraday. Michael Faraday was born in 1791 in London. He discovered the electromagnetic induction electromagnetic rotations, the magneto-optical effect, diamagnetism, field theory, etc. He died in 1867. This is Michael Faraday. Third one, Louis Pasteur. The French chemist and microbiologist was born in 1822. He developed life-saving vaccines for treating anthrax and rabies. Last one, but not the least, James Watt. He was born in 1736, the Scottish engineer and inventor after whom the watt as a unit of power is named. He made substantial improvements to the steam engine invented by Newcomen. Watt's work helped to bring about the Industrial Revolution in Britain. He died in 1819. Let's have a look some another famous scientists and their inventions. Thomas Edison and his famous inventions. This is Charles Darwin and his invention is the evolution of humans. This is Madame Marie Curie. Her invention is radium, the element radium and polonium. These are the Wright brothers and their invention is aircraft. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.
എല്ലാവർക്കും നമസ്കാരം. എൻ്റെ പേര് ജ്യോതി പി ജയരാജ്. സയൻസ് കോർണറുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട ശാസ്ത്രജ്ഞന്മാരെ കുറിച്ചും അവരുടെ കണ്ടുപിടുത്തങ്ങളെ കുറിച്ചുമാണ് ഞാൻ പറയുന്നത്. ചാൾസ് ഡാർവിൻ ജീവശാസ്ത്രജ്ഞത്തിലെ ന്യൂട്ടൺ എന്നറിയപ്പെടുന്നു. ജൈവകൃഷിയുടെ ഉപജ്ഞാതാവ് ആരെന്ന് അറിയാമോ കൂട്ടുകാരി? സർ ആൽബർട്ട് ഹോവർ. പ്യൂബർട്ടി വിഷ വാക്സിൻ കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചത് ലൂയി പാസ്റ്റർ. പോളിയോ വാക്സിൻ കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചത് ജോനാൻ സാൾട്ട്. പെൻസുലിൻ കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചത് അലക്സാണ്ടർ ഫ്ലമിംഗ്. വർണ്ണാന്തത കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചത് ജോൺ ഡാൾട്ടൺ. ഇൻസുലിൻ കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചത് ഫെഡറിക് ബാൻഡിംഗ് ചാൾസ് ബെസ്റ്റ്. ബാക്ടീരിയ കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചത് ലൂവൻ ഹോക്ക്. കോശം കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചത് റോബർട്ട് ഹുക്ക്. സ്റ്റെതസ്കോപ്പ് കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചത് റൈനെ ലെനക്. നന്ദി, നമസ്കാരം. ഇനി നമുക്ക് അടുത്ത ആഴ്ച സയൻസ് കോർണറുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട വർക്കിൽ കാണാം.
Hi, I'm Catherine George. Today I'm going to speak a few words about Sir Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton was an English mathematician, physicist, astronomer, theologian and author who is widely recognized as one of the most influential scientists in all times and as a key figure in the scientific revolution. He was born on January 4th, 1643 in England when the Great Plague shuttered Cambridge in 1665. Isaac Newton was born to a widowed mother. His father died 3 months prior and was not accepted to survive, being tiny and weak. Shortly thereafter, Newton was sent by his stepfather, the well-to-do minister Barnabas Smith, to live with his grandmother and was separated from his mother until Smith's death in 1653. All through, Isaac Newton is well known for his discoveries in optics and mathematics. It is his formulation of the 3 laws of motion, the basic principle of modern physics, for which he is most famous. His formulation of the laws of motion resulted in the law of universal gravitation. His major inventions were Newton's method, reflecting telescope, Newtonian telescope. He died on 31st March 1727. Thank you.
ഇവിടെ പരിചയപ്പെടുത്താൻ പോകുന്നത് കുറച്ച് സയൻസുകളെ കുറിച്ചാണ്. ഞാൻ ഇവിടെ ആദ്യം പരിചയപ്പെടുത്താൻ പോകുന്നത് ഗലീലിയോ ഗലീലി. Galileo Galilei, the Italian astronomer who discovered the principle of pendulum clocks, discovered the thermometer and was the first to use the telescope to study the sun and planets. അടുത്തതായി നമ്മൾ പരിചയപ്പെടാൻ പോകുന്നത് ആര്യഭട്ട, ancient mathematician and astronomer who was born in 1476 AD. അടുത്തതായി നമ്മൾ പരിചയപ്പെടുത്താൻ പോകുന്നത് APJ Abdul Kalam. He was made immense contribution to development of missiles such as Agni and Prithvi in India. അടുത്തതായി നമ്മൾ പരിചയപ്പെടുത്താൻ പോകുന്നത് വിക്രം സാരാഭായ്, physicist whose contribution to space research in India is well known. ഇത്രയും സയൻറ്റിസ്റ്റുകളെയാണ് ഞാൻ സയൻസ് കോർണറിലൂടെ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് പരിചയപ്പെടുത്തുന്നത്.
Hello everyone, thank you for having me. My name is Ananya P and I am going to be speaking a few words about Stephen William Hawking. Stephen Hawking was a British scientist, professor and author who performed groundbreaking work in physics and cosmology and whose books helped to make science accessible to everyone. At age 21, while studying cosmology at the University of Cambridge, he was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Part of his life story was depicted in the 2014 film The Theory of Everything. Hawking was born on January 8, 1942 in Oxford, England. His birthday was also the 300th anniversary of the death of Galileo, long a source of pride for the noticed physicist. His Scottish mother earned her way into Oxford University in the 1930s, a time when few women were able to go to colleges. His father, another Oxford graduate, was a respected medical researcher with a specialty in tropical diseases. Hawking's birth came at an inopportune time for his parents, who didn't have much money. The political climate was also tense as England was dealing with World War II. The Hawkings would go on to have two other children, Mary and Philippa, and their second son, Edward, was adopted in 1956. Hawking's father wanted his eldest child to go into medicine, but at an early age, Hawking showed a passion for science and the sky. During his first year at St. Albans School, he was third from the bottom of his class. During his teens, Hawking, along with several friends, constructed a computer out of recycled parts for solving rudimentary mathematical equations. Hawking entered University College at the University of Oxford at the age of 17. Although he expressed a desire to study mathematics, Oxford didn't offer a degree in that specialty, so Hawking gravitated toward physics and more specifically cosmology. In 1962, he graduated with honors in natural science and went to attend Trinity Hall at the University of Cambridge for a PhD in cosmology. In 1968, Hawking became a member of the Institute of Astronomy in Cambridge. In 1973, he published his first highly technical book, The Large Scale Structure of Space-Time with G.F.R. Ellis. At the age of 21, Hawking was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. In a very simple sense, the nerves that control his muscles were shutting down. At the time, doctors gave him 2.5 years to live, but he didn't look into the problem until 1963, during his first year at Cambridge. When his father took notices of the condition, he took Hawking to see a doctor. For the next 2 weeks, the 21-year-old college student made his home at a medical clinic where he underwent a series of tests. In a sense, Hawking's disease helped turn him into the noted scientist he became. With the sudden realization that he might not even live long enough to earn his PhD, Hawking poured himself into his work and research. At a New Year's party in 1963, Hawking met a young languages undergraduate named Jane Wald. They were married in 1965. The couple gave birth to a son, Robert, in 1967 and a daughter, Lucy, in 1970. A third child, Timothy, arrived in 1979. Hawking wrote a total of 15 books. A Brief History of Time, The Universe in a Nutshell, A Briefer History of Time, The Grand Design are some of his famous books. In 1974, Hawking theorized that black holes emit some kind of radiation called Hawking radiation. He died on March 14, 2018 at Cambridge. Thank you.
I am O.R. Charunetra from Standard 7A. I am going to introduce a scientist, Thomas Alva Edison. Thomas Alva Edison was an American inventor and businessman who has been described as America's greatest inventor. He developed many devices in fields such as electric power generation, mass communication, sound recording and motion pictures. He was born in 11 February 1847. Children: Charles Edison, Theodore Miller Edison, and Marion Estelle Edison. Awards: Congressional Gold Medal, John Scott Lexie Medal, and Matayuki Medal. Spouse: Mina Miller and Mary Stilwell. Thomas Alva Edison died in 18 October 1931.
Good evening all of you. I will telling about Albert Einstein, a great scientist. Albert Einstein was born on March 14, 1874 in Württemberg, Germany. Albert Einstein was a physicist who developed the general theory of relativity. He is considered one of the most influential scientists of the 20th century. Albert Einstein was a German mathematician and physicist who developed the physics and general theory of relativity in 1921. He won the Nobel Prize for Physics for his explanation of the photoelectric effect. In the following decade, he migrated to the US. After beginning dragged by the German Nazi Party, his work also had a major impact on the development of atomic energy. In his later years, Einstein focused on unified field theory. With his passion for inquiry, Einstein is generally considered the most influential physicist of the 20th century. Einstein was arrived able to gain admiration into the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology in Switzerland. Specified due to his super mathematician and physics score on the entrance exam. He was still required to complete his pre-university education first and thus attended a high school in Aarhus, Switzerland. Helped by John Windler, Einstein lived with the schoolmaster's family and fell in love with Windler's daughter Mary. Einstein later regained his German citizenship and became a Swiss citizen at the drop of the new century. Einstein died on April 18, 1955 at age 76. The late University Medical Center at Perpignan the previous day while working on a speech to honor 7th anniversary. Einstein surfaced an abdominal aortic aneurysm presented by Sri Shais Pillai. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I am here to introduce some of the scientists from South India. APJ Abdul Kalam. APJ Abdul Kalam is known as the Missile Man of India. Kalam was our former president and an aerospace scientist. He was born in Rameshwaram, a small village in Tamil Nadu. October 15th, his birthday, celebrated as World Students' Day every year. Second, M.J.K. Menon. Dr. Mamballi Kalathil Govindan Nayar Menon, also known as M.J.K. Menon, was a physicist and policy maker from Mangalore. He had great role in the development of science and technology in India over 14 years. Third one, Vengi Ramakrishnan. Vengi Ramakrishnan or Vengi Ramakrishnan is an Indian-born British-American biologist. He is now the president of the Royal Society. He shared the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in the year 2009 with Thomas Chase and Ada Deonath. Fourth one, G.N. Ramachandran. Gopala Samudram Narayan Ramachandran or G.N. Ramachandran was an Indian physicist. He is known for his work Ramachandran plot. He was born in Ernakulam. Chandi George, also known as E.C.G. Sudarshan, was a physicist born in Pallam, Kerala. He was awarded Padma Vibhushan and Padma Bhushan. He is known for quantum Zeno effect. Last one, E.K. Janaki Amma. Janaki Amma was an Indian botanist born in Talasheri, Madras. Janaki Amma Edavilatha Kakad, his full name. In 1931, she received doctorate in botany. Her work involved studies on sugarcane and brinjal.
ഞാനിന്നിവിടെ പരിചയപ്പെടുത്താൻ പോകുന്നത് ഒരു സ്റ്റൈലിസ്റ്റിനെയാണ്. ലോകമെമ്പാടും സുപരിചിതമായ ഒരു സ്റ്റൈലിസ്റ്റാണ്. ഭൂമി ഗോളാകൃതിയിലാണ് എന്ന് തെളിയിച്ച ഒരു സ്റ്റൈലിസ്റ്റ്. അദ്ദേഹം ആരാണെന്ന് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അറിയാമോ?
ഗലീലിയോ ഗലീലിയ.
അതെ, ഗലീലിയോ ഗലീലിയ. ഫെബ്രുവരി 15 1564 ഗലീലിയോ ഗലീലിയ ജനിച്ചു. ഇദ്ദേഹം ഒരു ഇറ്റലിക്കാരനായിരുന്നു. ഭൗതിക ശാസ്ത്രജ്ഞൻ, ജ്യോതിശാസ്ത്രജ്ഞൻ, നിരീക്ഷകൻ, തത്വചിന്തകൻ എന്ന നിലയിൽ അദ്ദേഹം അദ്ദേഹത്തിന്റെ കഴിവ് തെളിയിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഗലീലിയോയെ ഡോക്ടറാക്കാനായിരുന്നു മാതാപിതാക്കൾ ആഗ്രഹിച്ചത്. പക്ഷേ പഠിക്കാൻ പണമില്ലാത്തത് കൊണ്ട് പഠനം ഉപേക്ഷിക്കേണ്ടി വന്നു. എന്നാൽ സ്വയം പഠനം കണ്ടെത്താൻ അദ്ദേഹം തീരുമാനിച്ചു. അങ്ങനെ അദ്ദേഹം പഠനം തുടങ്ങി. ഗലീലിയോയെ ലോകത്തിൽ 12ാം സ്ഥാനമാണ് ഉള്ളത്. അദ്ദേഹത്തിന്റെ പ്രശസ്തമായ പുസ്തകങ്ങളാണ് ദ കോർപ്പറേഷൻ ഓഫ് ജോമെട്രിക്കൽ ആൻഡ് മിലിറ്ററി കോമ്പസ്. 1604 ആ പുസ്തകം ലോകമെമ്പാടും സുപരിചിതമായി. ഗലീലിയോ ചെയ്ത പരീക്ഷണങ്ങളുടെ ടെക്നോളജി എന്നറിയപ്പെടുന്നതാണ് ഈ പുസ്തകത്തിന്റെ ഉള്ളടക്കം. ദ സ്റ്റോറി ഓഫ് മെസഞ്ചർ 1610 ഈ പുസ്തകം ലോകമെമ്പാടും ദ സ്റ്റോറി മെസഞ്ചർ 1610 ഈ പുസ്തകം ലോകമെമ്പാടും പ്രശസ്തമായി. ഇദ്ദേഹം ഉണ്ടാക്കിയ ഒരു സ്ഥാപനമായിരുന്നു യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റി ഓഫ് ഹഡിയ. അദ്ദേഹം ചെയ്ത ഒരു പരീക്ഷണമായിരുന്നു ഒരു കുഴൽ രണ്ടറ്റത്ത് ഒരു ലെൻസ് വെച്ച് അതിൽ ലളിതമായി ഒരു ഉപകരണം ഉണ്ടാക്കി. അതിലൂടെ ആകാശത്തെ അദ്ദേഹം നോക്കി. 1969 ഡിസംബറിലാണ് ഈ സംഭവം നടന്നത്. അതിലൂടെ ലോകശാസ്ത്രം മാറ്റി എഴുതപ്പെട്ടു. ഇതേ തുടർന്നാണ് ആധുനിക ലോകശാസ്ത്രജ്ഞൻ എന്ന് അദ്ദേഹത്തെ അറിയപ്പെട്ടത്. ഇദ്ദേഹം പറഞ്ഞ ചിന്താവിഷയമാണ് ലോകത്തിൽ ഏറ്റവും പ്രസിദ്ധമായത്. ദൈവത്തിന് പ്രപഞ്ചം എഴുതിയ ഭാഷയാണ് ഗണിതശാസ്ത്രം. വെള്ളത്താൽ ഒരുമിച്ച് പിടിച്ചിരിക്കുന്ന സൂര്യപ്രകാശനമാണ് വഴി. അങ്ങനെ 77-ാം വയസ്സിൽ അദ്ദേഹം ജനുവരി 8 ഈ ലോകത്തോട് വിട പറഞ്ഞു. മരിച്ച് 350 കൊല്ലം കഴിഞ്ഞ് ലോകത്തിൽ ഇതാണ് ഗലീലിയോയുടെ ചിത്രങ്ങൾ. ഇതാണ് ഫേമസ് ബുക്ക്. ഇതാണ് അദ്ദേഹം ചെയ്ത എക്സ്പെരിമെന്റ്. ടവറിനെ പറ്റിയുള്ള പഠനങ്ങൾ.
Hi friends, today I am going to introduce in front of you the famous scientist Thomas Alva Edison. Can we hear a short description about him? Thomas Alva Edison was one of America's most inventors. He was born on February 11, 1847. He developed many devices that greatly influenced life around the world, including the phonograph. Edison's favorite invention was phonograph. Edison accidentally invented the phonograph. Next, one of the famous invention of Edison was electric bulb. Today, all over the world, people are using electric bulb for different purposes. Dubbed the Wizard of Menlo Park, he was one of the first inventors to apply the principles of mass production and large-scale teamwork to the process of invention, and because of that, he is often credited with the creation of the first. When Edison was born, electricity had not been put to much use. By the time he died, entire cities were lit by electricity. So friends, here I am concluding my words. Thank you. Submitted by Sia Simon 7B.
Hi friends, I am Adela Yasmin. I am studying 7th standard. Today I am going to speak about Galileo Galilei. He was an astronomer, mathematician, philosopher and physicist. He was born on 15th February 1564 in Pisa, Duchy of Florence. His father's name was Vincenzo Galilei and mother's name was Galilea Manetti. His father was lutenist, composer and music theorist by profession. Galileo enrolled at the University of Pisa for a medical degree. Financial difficulties cut short Galileo's education at the university, which he left in 1585. Before earning his degree upon leaving university, Galileo set his mind to create a thermoscope, which was the precursor to the presently used thermometer. By publishing the book, The Little Balance, scholarly world recognized Galileo Galilei. Look up the job and an instructor at Accademia delle Arti del Disegno In 1589, Galileo was promoted to the chair of mathematics at the University of Pisa, and by this time Galileo conducted his famous experiment of dropping items of varied weight from the top of leaning tower. In this experiment, Aristotle claimed that speed of the falling object is directly proportional to its weight. Instead, to Aristotle view of motion, Galileo took an approach to meet the problem due to his rejection of Aristotelian view. Galileo gained an unpopular status within society. In 1592, his contract was also renewed at the University of Pisa, which led him to losing his position. The Galileo's patrons helped him secure the chair of mathematics at the University of Padua, which he served 18 years at the University of Padua. Galileo taught young students on the subjects of geometry, drive mechanics, and astronomy. Due to the death of his father, Galileo's family became dependent to him, but his income was too little to maintain his family. Galileo started to teaching privately. In 1610, Galileo discovered two moons revolving around Jupiter. He was also claimed that there were a great number of stars there in the universe than those visible through naked eye. Impressed by the earth-shaking research made by Galileo, he was awarded with an appointment as mathematician and philosopher of the Grand Duke to Tuscany by publishing discourse of bodies in water. In his 1612, he again negated Aristotle's opinion that objects floated due to their flat shape. Instead, he argued that the flotation was caused due to the weight of the object in relation to the matter it displaced. Following year, Galileo came up with this theory of sunspots again. Galileo contradicted Aristotelian doctrine that the sun was perfect by giving statement about Copernicus' theory earned him a ban from the courts with Thermocrates of a new Pope Urban, who foundedly was a friend and admirer and patron of Galileo. Galileo resumed his work on astronomy. He was allowed to publish books as well, with the only condition that they provided an objective view and do not advocate Copernican theory. Galileo married Marina Camba and they got 3 children. After suffering from fever and heart palpitations, he died at Arcatraz Grand Duchy of Tuscany, Italy, on 8 January 1642 at the age of 77 for playing a major role in the scientific revolution. Galileo earned the nickname of Father of Modern Science. You cannot teach a man anything. You can only help him find it within himself. Galileo Galilei. Thank you.
With Roger Penrose on gravitational singularity theorems in the framework of general relativity and the theoretical prediction that black holes emit radiation, often called Hawking radiation. Initially, Hawking radiation was controversial. By the late 1970s, as following the publication of further research, the discovery was widely accepted as a significant breakthrough in theoretical physics. Hawking was the first to set out a theory of cosmology, explained by a union of the general theory of relativity and quantum mechanics. He was a vigorous supporter of the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. Hawking achieved commercial success with several works of popular science in which he discussed his theories and cosmology
cosmology in general. His book, A Brief History of Time, appeared on the Sunday Times bestseller list for a record-breaking 237 weeks. Hawking was a Fellow of the Royal Society, a lifetime member of the Pontifical Academy of Sciences, and a recipient of the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian award in the United States. In 2002, Hawking was ranked number 25 in the BBC's poll of the 100 greatest Britons. He died on 14 March 2018 at the age of 76 after living with motor neuron disease for more than 15 years. Thank you. Good evening. I am going to say about my favorite scientist, Mr. Stephen Hawking. I know some of you may know him. This is Stephen Hawking, the great scientist. Stephen William Hawking was an English theoretical physicist, cosmologist, and author who was director of research at the Centre for Theoretical Cosmology at Cambridge University at the time of his death. He was the Lucasian Professor of Mathematics at the Cambridge University between 1979 and 2009. Hawking was born on 8 January 1942 in Oxford into a family of doctors. Hawking began his university education at University College, Oxford. October 1959, at the age of 17, where he received a first-class BA degree in physics. He began his graduate work at Trinity Hall, Cambridge in October 1962, where he obtained his PhD degree in applied mathematics and theoretical physics, specializing in general relativity and cosmology in March 1966. During this period, in 1963, Hawking was diagnosed with an early onset slow progressing form of motor neuron disease that gradually paralyzed him over the decades. After the loss of his speech, he was able to communicate through a speech generating device, initially through use of a handheld switch and eventually by using a single cheek muscle. Hawking's scientific works include a collaboration.
Hello all, my best regards to everyone present. I am Ananya Sudhir from 7C. To start with, I would welcome you all and also thank you for giving me this opportunity. Here, I am with the great personality, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Dr. Kalam is not just a name but a feeling. He was the 11th President of India. He was one of the greatest scientists and is known for his achievement in the field of science. He is also known as the Missile Man of India. He was born in a middle-class Muslim family on 15th October 1931 in Rameswaram. He witnessed many struggles. His full name was Abul Pakar Jainulabdin Abdul Kalam. His idea of dreaming was really different. The dreams are not those which you see when you sleep, but are those which you never let you sleep. He was awarded by Bharat Ratna in the year 1997. While delivering his speech at the Institute of Management, Shillong, he got cardiac arrest and collapsed. He left us making 27th July 2015 one of the saddest days in the history of India. To conclude, I would like to say, even though he left us, he is still in our hearts. Thank you for hearing my words.
Hello everyone, I am Abhinaya P. I introduce a famous scientist, Sir Isaac Newton. Sir Isaac Newton was one of the prominent scientists who was born on 4th January 1643. He contributed much for the progress of science as an astronomer, physicist, mathematician and philosopher. His book Principia Mathematica is considered to be the basic reference book of physics. Newton observed that all celestial bodies and all objects on earth obey the same universal law of motion. He formulated a new branch of mathematics called calculus. He gave theoretical basics to the discoveries of his predecessors like Tycho, Brahe, Kepler, and Galileo. Newton's universal law of gravitation and law of motion revolutionized the study of physics. In an opinion surveys conducted in 2005 by the Royal Society, Sir Isaac Newton was voted as the most influential person of the century. He passed away on 31st March 1727. As a mark of respect, unit of force has been named after him. Thank you. Hello everyone, I am Abhinaya P. I introduce a famous scientist, Sir Isaac Newton. Sir Isaac Newton was one of the prominent scientists who was born on 4th January 1643. He contributed much for the progress of science as an astronomer, physicist, mathematician, and philosopher. His book Principia Mathematica is considered to be the basic reference book of physics. Newton observed that all celestial bodies and all objects on earth obey the same universal law of motion. He formulated a new branch of mathematics called calculus. He gave theoretical basics to the discoveries of his predecessors like Tycho, Brahe, Kepler, and Galileo. Newton's universal law of gravitation and law of motion revolutionized the study of physics. In an opinion surveys conducted in 2005 by the Royal Society, Sir Isaac Newton was voted as the most influential person of the century. He passed away on 31st March 1727. As a mark of respect, unit of force has been named after him. Thank you.
Hello, I am Avishna Tipi. I introduced a famous scientist, James Watt. James Watt was born in 19 January 1736 and died in 1890 at the age of 83. He was a Scottish inventor and mechanical engineer who made great improvements to the steam engine. James Watt started off as an instrument maker at the Glasgow University. Watt soon became interested in steam engines and joined another scientist named Matthew Boulton. He realized that current designs at that time wasted a great deal of energy by repeatedly cooling and reheating the cylinder. Watt introduced a design enhancement, the separate condenser, which avoided this waste of energy and radically improved the power, efficiency and cost effectiveness of steam engines. Thank you.
A warm good morning everyone. I am Kirti Damodaran from class 7th D. Here I am sharing a small information about scientist Charles Robert Darwin. Charles Robert Darwin was born in 12 February 1809 at Shrewsbury, United Kingdom. FRS, FRGS, FLS, FZS was an English nationalist, geologist and biologist, best known for contribution to the science of evolution. His propositions that all species of life have descended over time from common ancestors is now widely accepted and considered a fundamental concept in science. He was born on 12 February 1809. The Mount House, Shrewsbury, United Kingdom. Francis Darwin, Anna Darwin, George Darwin and more are his children. He studied at Christ's College, Cambridge, 1828 to 1831. Shrewsbury School, 1880 to 1825. And he was died on 19 April 1882. Marie Curie. Marie Sklodowska-Curie, born in Maria Salome Sklodowska on 7 November 1867, was a Polish and naturalized French physicist and chemist who conducted pioneering research on radioactivity. She was born on 1867 November 7 on Warsaw, Poland. Nobel Prizes in chemistry. She got Nobel Prizes in physics and Mathematics Award and more. She discovered radium and polonium. She got Davy Award in 1903, Willard Gibbs Award in 1921. Marie Curie died 4 July 1934 at San Celero, Mons. Antoine Henri Becquerel. Henri Becquerel was a French engineer, physicist, Nobel laureate, and the first person to discover evidence of radioactivity for work. In this field, he, along with Marie Sklodowska-Curie and Pierre Curie, received the 1903 Nobel Prize in Physics. He was born on December 15 at France, Paris. He got Nobel Prizes in Physics. Ransford model. Jean Becquerel was his child. He was dead on 25th August 1908 at Le Croisic, France. Year and discoveries of scientists. Scientists' name and their discoveries and year. Michael Faraday. Electromagnetic induction at 1831. Thomas Alva Edison. Thermionic emission at 1880. Henri Becquerel. Radioactivity at 1896. Marie Sklodowska-Curie. Radium at 1898. Thank you for watching.
Hello everyone, I am Angel Teresa S. I introduced Isaac Newton's laws of motion, Newton's first law, Newton's second law, and Newton's third law. Newton's first law. Newton's first law states that every object will remain at rest or in uniform motion in a straight line unless compelled to change its state by the action of external force. Example, an object at rest will remain at rest unless acted on by an unbalanced force. An object in motion will continue with constant speed and direction unless acted on by an unbalanced force. Newton's second law. The acceleration of an object as produced by a net force is directly proportional to the magnitude of the net force in the same direction as net force and inversely proportional to the mass of the object. Example: an empty grocery cart requires less force to move it than a cart filled with groceries. Newton's third law. The third law states that for every action in nature, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Example: when air rushes out of a balloon, the opposite reaction is that the balloon flies up. Thank you.
ഗുഡ് ഈവനിങ് ടു ആൾ. ഞാനിന്നിവിടെ സയൻസ് കോർണറിൻ്റെ ഭാഗമായി സർ ഐസക് ന്യൂട്ടനെ പരിചയപ്പെടുത്താൻ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നു. പ്രഗത്ഭനായ ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ഭൗതികശാസ്ത്രജ്ഞനും ഗണിതജ്ഞനും ജ്യോതിശാസ്ത്രജ്ഞനും തത്വചിന്തകനും ആൽക്കെമിസ്റ്റുമായിരുന്നു സർ ഐസക് ന്യൂട്ടൻ. 1642 ഡിസംബർ 25 ഇംഗ്ലണ്ടിൽ ജനിച്ചു. ന്യൂട്ടൺ 1687 പുറത്തിറക്കിയ ഭൂഗുരുത്വാകർഷണ ചലന നിയമങ്ങൾ എന്നിവയെ വിശദീകരിക്കുന്ന പ്രിൻസിപ്പിയ എന്ന ഗ്രന്ഥം ബലതന്ത്രത്തിന്റെ അടിസ്ഥാനശിലയായി കണക്കാക്കുന്നു. തുടർന്നുള്ള 3 നൂറ്റാണ്ടുകളിൽ ഭൗതിക പ്രപഞ്ചത്തിന്റെ ശാസ്ത്രീയ വീക്ഷണം ഈ ഗ്രന്ഥത്തെ അടിസ്ഥാനപ്പെടുത്തിയായിരുന്നു. ഭൗമോപരിതലത്തിലുള്ള വസ്തുക്കളുടെയും ആകാശഗോളങ്ങളുടെയും ചലനം ഒരേ പ്രകൃതി നിയമങ്ങൾ അനുസരിച്ചാണെന്ന് അദ്ദേഹം തെളിയിച്ചു. പ്രകാശത്തിന്റെ കണികാ സ്വഭാവം വ്യക്തമാക്കുന്ന കണികാ സിദ്ധാന്തവും അദ്ദേഹത്തിന്റെ സംഭാവനയാണ്. ഗണിതത്തിൽ കലന സമ്പ്രദായങ്ങളുടെ വളർച്ചയ്ക്ക് അദ്ദേഹം നിസ്തുലമായ സംഭാവനകൾ നൽകി. 2005 റോയൽ സൊസൈറ്റി നടത്തിയ അഭിപ്രായ സർവേയിൽ നൂറ്റാണ്ടിലെ ഏറ്റവും സ്വാധീന ശക്തിയുള്ള ശാസ്ത്രപ്രതിഭയായി തിരഞ്ഞെടുക്കപ്പെട്ടത് ഐസക് ന്യൂട്ടനാണ്. ലോക ചരിത്രത്തെ ഏറ്റവും സ്വാധീനിച്ച 100 വ്യക്തികളുടെ ഹ്രസ്വ ചരിത്രമാണ് ദ 100 എന്ന പേരിൽ മൈക്കൽ ഹാർട്ട് 1977 പ്രസിദ്ധീകരിച്ച പുസ്തകം. ഈ പട്ടികയിൽ 2ാം സ്ഥാനം ന്യൂട്ടനാണ്. ആദ്യത്തെ പ്രാക്ടിക്കൽ റിഫ്ലക്റ്റിംഗ് ടെലസ്കോപ്പ് നിർമ്മിച്ചു. പ്രഭു പദവി ലഭിച്ച 2ാമത്തെ ശാസ്ത്രജ്ഞൻ. കാൽക്കുലസിന്റെ പിതാവെന്നറിയപ്പെടുന്നു. രാഷ്ട്രത്തിന്റെ ആദരവോടെ ശവമടക്കപ്പെട്ട ആദ്യ ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ശാസ്ത്രജ്ഞൻ. ബലത്തിന്റെ യൂണിറ്റ് ന്യൂട്ടന്റെ പേരിൽ അറിയപ്പെടുന്നു. താങ്ക് യു. പ്രസന്റഡ് ബൈ അൽഫിദ എന്നെ, സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡ് 7.
James Prescott Joule. The English scientist James Prescott Joule, born in 1818, conducted studies about the salient features of heat energy and about the mechanical movement caused by heat. He became famous for his 2 laws related to the magnitude of heat due to current and how the energy of gas influences pressure.
Hi everybody, I am Tirtha, studying 7C. Here I am going to introduce by Thomas Edison. Thomas Alva Edison was an American inventor and businessman who has been described as America's greatest inventor. He developed many devices in fields such as electric power generation, mass communication, sound recording, and motion pictures. These inventions, which include the phonograph, the motion pictures camera, and early versions of the electric light bulb, have had a widespread impact on the modern industrialized world. He was one of the first inventors to apply the principles of organized design and teamwork to the process of invention, working with many research and employees. He established the first industrial research laboratory. He passed away of 1913. Thank you.
Hello teachers and friends. I am going to talk about few sentences of scientists Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam and Michael Faraday. Father of India missile programming. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam is the 11th President of India. His full name is Abul Pakir Jainul Abdin Abdul Kalam. APJ Abdul Kalam is the best president in India history till date. He is best known as the missile man to every common Indian. He was born on October 15th, 1931 at Dhanushkodi in the temple town Rameshwaram in Tamil Nadu. His father Jainul Abdin was a boat owner and imam of a local mosque. His mother Aishima was a housewife. He was born in a poor family, but he was a brilliant child. He became an important part of Indian Space Research Organization in 1963. He is dead in 27th July 2015. I am going to next topic, Michael Faraday. Michael Faraday was born in 22 September 1791. Michael Faraday is regarded as one of the most distinguished scientists and inventor of modern times, and his work on electricity is still a subject to study in the form of Faraday's law, but few know his inspirational life stories, which is all about courage and fighting against the odds. He was dead in the 23rd August 1867.
ഞാനിവിടെ പറയാൻ പോകുന്നത് റേഡിയം കണ്ടുപിടിച്ച പോളൺ ശാസ്ത്രജ്ഞയെ കുറിച്ചാണ്. മേരി ക്യൂറി. റേഡിയോ ആക്റ്റീവ് മൂലകമായ റേഡിയം കണ്ടുപിടിച്ച പോളൺ ശാസ്ത്രജ്ഞയാണ് മേരി ക്യൂറി എന്ന മാഡം ക്യൂറി. നവംബർ 7, 1867 വാഴ്സോ കോൺഗ്രസ് പോളണ്ടിൽ ജനിച്ചു. പ്രധാനമായും ഇവർ ഫ്രാൻസിലാണ് പ്രവർത്തിച്ചിരുന്നത്. റേഡിയോ ആക്ടിവിറ്റി സംബന്ധിച്ച് ഗവേഷണമാണ് മേരി ക്യൂറിയെ പ്രശസ്തയാക്കിയത്. നോബൽ സമ്മാനം ലഭിക്കുന്ന ആദ്യ വനിതയായിരുന്നു ക്യൂറി. ഇതുകൂടാതെ മാഡം ക്യൂറി 2 വ്യത്യസ്ത ശാസ്ത്ര മേഖലകളിലും നോബൽ സമ്മാനം ലഭിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഭൗതികശാസ്ത്രവും രസതന്ത്രവും. മരിയ സലോമിയ സ്ക്ലോഡാവിയ എന്നായിരുന്നു ക്യൂറിയുടെ ആദ്യ പേര്. ശാസ്ത്രത്തിൽ പ്രായോഗിക പരിശീലനം ആരംഭിച്ചത് വാഴ്സോയിലായിരുന്നു. റേഡിയോ ആക്റ്റീവാണ് ക്യൂറിയുടെ ഒരു പ്രധാന സംഭാവന. റേഡിയോ ആക്റ്റീവ് മൂലകങ്ങൾ ഉപയോഗിച്ച് അർബുദ ചികിത്സ നടത്തുന്നതും ക്യൂറിയുടെ കീഴിലാണ്. 1934 മേരി ക്യൂറി മരിച്ചത്. പരിശീലനങ്ങളുടെ ഭാഗമായി വർഷങ്ങളോളം റേഡിയേഷൻ ഏറ്റതുമൂലമുണ്ടായ അപ്ലാസ്റ്റിക് അനീമിയമാണ് മരണകാരണം. താങ്ക് യു. പ്രസന്റഡ് ബൈ മാളവിക സി. 7.
Going to introduce famous scientist Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein was a German-born theoretical physicist who developed the theory of relativity, one of the 2 pillars of the modern physics. This work is also known as for his influence of the philosophy of science. He was born on 14th March 1879. He was best known as to the general public for his mass energy equivalence formula is equal to mc square, which has been dubbed the world's most famous equation. He received a 1921 Nobel Prize in Physics for this service to the theoretical physics and especially for his discovery to the law of the photoelectric effect, a pivotal step of the development of the quantum theory. He passed away of April 18, 1955. Thank you.
Good afternoon to all respected teachers and my dear friends. Today I would like to speak a few words about Indian physicist C.V. Raman. Chandrasekhara Venkata Raman was an Indian physicist who made groundbreaking works in the field of light scattering with his student K.S. Krishnan. He discovered that when light traverses a transparent material, some of the reflected light change wavelength and amplitude. He was born in 7 November 1888 in Tamil Nadu. He was dead in 21 November 1970, aged 82. His parents are R. Chandrasekhar Nair and Parvati Amal. Thank you to all. Have a nice day.
some famous scientists. Archimedes. Archimedes was a Greek mathematician, physicist, as well as an engineer. He conducted many experiments. Most of them were about the qualities of liquids and livers. He determined for the value of pi and also formulated an equation
for calculating the surface area of a sphere. Sir Isaac Newton. Sir Isaac Newton was born on the Christmas night of 1642 at a place called Woolsthorpe in England. His early achievements are in the field of mathematics. In 1666, he conducted experiments on the composition of light. It was he who established that white light combines within itself the 7 colors. It was Newton again who came up with the corpuscular theory of light. Newton came to understand that all the objects in the universe might be exerting a mutual force. This theory of Newton is termed as the law of universal gravitation. Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein, born in Germany, proposed special theory of relativity and derived the equation E is equal to mc square. In 1921, he was awarded the Nobel Prize for Physics. The 99th element was given the name Einsteinium in honor of him. Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin, British naturalist who is best known for his theory of evolution. Darwin explained that new species are originated through natural selection. The beginning of theory of evolution was with Darwin's visit to Galapagos Islands in the ship HMS Beagle. In his voyage, he succeeded in finding many valuable informations about evolution. Darwin suggested that evolution is a reality and it happens naturally. Based on his findings, he published the world-famous book, The Origin of Species. Another book of him, named The Descent of Man, is also famous.
Hi, I am Abhinandana. I am going to introduce some famous scientists. Galileo Galilei. Galileo Galilei, born February 15th, 1564, Pisa, Italy, died January 8th, 1642. Arcetri, near Florence, Italian natural philosopher, astronomer and mathematician who made fundamental contributions to the science of motion, astronomy and the strength of materials and to the development of the scientific method. His formulation of circular inertia, the law of falling bodies and the parabolic trajectories marked the beginning of a fundamental change in the study of motion. His insistence that the book of nature was written in the language of mathematics changed natural philosophy from a verbal, qualitative account to a mathematical one in which experimentation became a recognized method for discovering the fact of nature. Finally, his discoveries with the telescope revolutionized astronomy and paved the way for acceptance of the Copernican heliocentric system. But his advocacy of that system eventually resulted in an inquisition process against him. Albert Einstein. On March 14, 1879, Albert Einstein is born, the son of a Jewish electrical engineer in Ulm, Germany. Einstein's theory of special and general relativity drastically altered man's view of the universe, and his work in particle and energy theory helped make possible quantum machines and ultimately the atomic bomb. Thank you. Presented by Abhinandana S. 7D.
Hi friends, I'm Shahan V. Today I'm going to introduce a scientist. Today I am introducing Marie Curie. Marie Curie was the first woman to win Nobel Prize. She was born in Warsaw, the capital of Poland, and part of Russian Empire in November 7, 1867. Her first name was Maria Sklodowska. Her father was Władysław Sklodowski, and her mother's name is Bronislaw Sklodowska. Her father and mother was Curie was the youngest of the 5 children, 10 years old, and began attending the boarding school of Jessikorska. At her practical scientific training at the chemical laboratory. In 1891, she moved to France. She enrolled herself at the Sorbonne University. 1893, she was awarded a master's degree in physics. 1894, Mary met Marie Curie. Like Mary, he was a scientist and they fell in love. Married on July 26, 1895, and they had 2 daughters. He discovered polonium and radium. He was also famous for fighting the treatment of cancer. Marie Curie's daughter, Irene Jolie Curie, was also awarded Nobel Prize in physics and chemistry. Here's some quotes of Marie Curie. Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Now is the time to understand more so that we may fear less. Have no fear of perfection, you will never reach it. Life is not easy for any of us, but what of that? We must have perseverance and above all confidence in ourselves. We must believe that we are gifted in something and that this thing at whatever cost must be attained. I have no dress except that one I wear every day. If you are going to be kind enough to give me one, please let it be practical and dark so that I can put it on afterwards to go to the laboratory. I think that all of you liked this introduction about Marie Curie. Thanks.